really well written. Yeah, and I was okay with it.
Guess we're ready.
Yay! Yay! Okay. So I passed out many bad days from history. Some more serious than others, but one, hopefully they all made you feel a little better about some of your bad days. And I passed them out randomly, but I do have slides for each of them. So we'll go through them that way. If someone from your group, or if you want to stand up in unison, that's good too. But Joe did ask that you stand up when you speak because it makes it easier for him. So. This is Miss Susan Lucci in 2008. Which group had her? Can you tell us a little more about the bad day in history that you had?
Okay, so our bad day in history was May 15th, 1998, and Susan Lucci lost the Daytime Emmy Award for Best Actress for the 18th time in a row. So we said that Susan Lucci was the one who failed by not getting the Emmy, who succeeded, Susan Lucci, by getting a lot of press for losing for the 18th time and for perseverance that she showed, and I mean, she's got more press. Like, nobody knows who won because we know who lost. So all of those entertainment, the channels, the networks, her show, all also gained press. Some of the good things that we decided could or wouldn't have happened if she had won was Geena Davis, who did actually win. We looked it up. She wouldn't have won, and it wouldn't have been great for her career. So that wouldn't have happened if Susan Lucci had won. We thought that it probably built her win the next year when she did actually win. It just kind of like compounded the the success of the following year if she hadn't had all of those failures to like build up to this great victory. So we felt like that wouldn't have happened. Yes. Again, the press wouldn't have had the same drama or the entertainment. So again, the network wouldn't have gotten the same press or the same value as it did. And also, we felt that she was relatable or more loved because she was an underdog. So it really benefited her in that way, which if she hadn't had all of those losses, she wouldn't have benefited from.
Yeah, I don't think she's gotten as much press since she's won that award than she ever did. I mean, that's the last time I heard about it, really. So, awesome. Good job. So, if you had this one, go ahead and explain what it is, because I think it would be more fun for you to explain it.
Oh, good. So, this is May 1632 in England. Right after the Stuarts' time. This is my favorite time in history. So in the King James Bible, in the 1631 edition, the printers put "Thou shalt commit adultery." Awkward.
And in Deuteronomy 5, showed us his glory and his great ass. Should have said greatness.
So whoops.
This is the best Bible ever.
We tried to look up how many were printed. Just curious. I don't have this one. Anyway, so who failed? The printers and editors obviously had some problems, I guess. Also, they didn't write on good material. They didn't edit properly, that sort of thing. Who succeeded? We're looking at the church. They eventually killed these people. Or what they do? Mutilation. Banned them, sorry. I figured they're English, let's be honest. And I'm assuming we talked about other printers were obviously succeeding because they would eventually be hired to do this sort of thing. What came out of this that was good from the Wicked Bible, a better editing process, we're assuming happened with the Bible's newer versions eventually came out.
That was
great.
And we wouldn't have this left today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, this is a more serious one. This would be
Philippines.
The Philippines. This is a base in Manila. Who had that one? Did I have more of these?
So,
Oh, okay, there you go.
so, yeah, so
Stand up,
on.
stand up.
Stand up, oh, okay. So on December 8th, 1941, the day after Pearl Harbor, the Japanese attacked the American Air Force base outside Manila, Philippines, completely destroying it. And no one could understand, the historians, the critics of General William MacArthur couldn't understand why, on the day after Pearl Harbor, knowing that his intention was to
Why didn't he
That's
suspect
right.
that somebody would,
Yeah,
that they would be under
the word I'm
attack?
looking for, to emancipate the Philippines, why he wouldn't have done something to disperse all of the American aircraft and everything else that was at this Air Force base. So historians rightly put this down as an incredible failure on the part of General MacArthur, who was the commander at the time, and of course what then appeared to be an incredible victory for the Japanese. Now, as to what what good happened as a result of this, none of us are particularly enamored of military history or informed about it, but our assumption is that the resolve of the United States to make sure that they had victory in Japan and everywhere else, over Japan and everywhere else in World War II, might be construed as something positive that came out of another horrible event that none of us knew about, because I think, again, history is very much fixated on Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. How many people knew that the very next day this other Air Force base in the Philippines was also completely destroyed?
I agree. I had also never heard of it before I read this book. Yes, sir.
Another winner of that was Douglas MacArthur's staff, because instead of evacuating the last of the wounded on a submarine, he sent his busboys and his cooks and so forth on the last submarine out. So, while not, it's a terrible thing, but those guys made it out.
True, true. I gotta imagine, and like I said, I am also not like super military history informed. But apparently the Japanese were really like surprised when they got there to make this attack that all the planes were just sitting there lined up in a row, like do. I imagine that probably hasn't happened again. Maybe we've had some, advances in military strategy since that failure. So, yes, sir.
It also grew MacArthur's legend because when he evacuated the islands, he vowed that he'd come back. And when the United States did retake the islands, there was a great picture of him wading ashore, because he took back the Philippines.
I have returned.
Yes. So it really grew his legend out of this huge failure.
There you go. Matter of perspective. All right, now a not so serious one. Who had Cutthroat Island?
Out of this.
What's that?
Okay, so
Reach for this one, Pat.
I got a couple of good things.
All right.
So Cutthroat Island, its budget was like over $100 million, one of the first over $100 million box office budget movies, and it made $10 million. It was the biggest failure in Hollywood history until just recently with Mars Needs Moms. So,
Wow.
there's that. It was December 22nd, 1995. So Geena Davis, who was the star of this movie, her husband at the time was the director.
Yes.
And he went on said some crazy things about everything, and it was a total disaster. There was raw sewage leaking onto the set. A lot of bad stuff happened. The good things to come out of it, I guess, since her career was kind of ruined, she now does a lot of good things about gender representation in media. It has a whole foundation that's doing a lot of positive stuff, which is good. She's got a different advocacy career. She also has a new husband, and this is her 4th, but they're still married and have been for like 15 years, so maybe she found true love after getting rid of Remy Harlan. I think that's what we got. Also, they made better pirate movies after this, because this one was so bad, they didn't make pirate movies for a long time, and then they got better, and Pirates of the Caribbean was a good one. So, thank you for better pirate movies, media activism, and she found her true love.
And our favorite quote is, "I don't want dirt, I want filth."
He wanted all these like excesses. He was like, I don't want funny stuff. I want hysteria. I don't want groups. I want crowds. I don't want dirt. I want filth. Which is so great.
He didn't want failure. He wanted abject.
Right.
That's true. He didn't want to just fail. He wanted to epically fail.
He did.
He got one.
Awesome.
And check out that.
Okay, this is the one, Jimmy Carter one.
Okay. So we had a nice little story. So it was September 22nd, 1975. Just 17 days before that date, there had been an assassination attempt on President Ford's life, and that was the Lynette Squeaky from of the Charles Manson cult. So just 17 days later, a woman by the name of Sarah Jane Moore, who in our little story we know that she says that she had been recently radicalized 45-year-old suburban housewife with no coherent cause, so we're not really quite sure why, but she shot at the president as he exited a San Francisco hotel with a .38 caliber revolver. I know nothing about guns, so .38 caliber revolver. She fired it from 40 feet away. She missed his head, and a guy in the crowd by the name of Oliver Sipple just like really knocked her arm away as the president was like rushed to safety. Now, incredibly, this woman had called the police the day before and had told on herself. So said, I don't know what she said, but she tried to confess or tried to warn the police that she was going to do this. The Secret Service came by her house, confiscated a .45 revolver, but determined that she wasn't a real threat. They kind of said, oh, she's just a housewife. She's not going to do that. They said that they deemed her not of sufficient protective importance to warrant surveillance during the president's visit. So that oversight nearly cost Ford his life, but apparently not his sense of humor. So he was still in good spirits. So who failed? Obviously, Sarah Jane failed. She had twice, really. She failed when she tried to turn herself in, and she failed when she tried to assassinate the president. So that wasn't good for her. Obviously, the Secret Service failed in their evaluation of Sarah, and then in their evaluation of Sarah. Who succeeded was Oliver, because he was sort of the hero of the day. And then President Ford himself succeeded in that he didn't die. He survived the attempt, and he also kept his good humor. So I think it was a public relations kind of win for him. What good that came out of it, I think. Tony mentioned something, and I'm not quite sure about this, but that women and the whole feminism movement, women's rights, taking women seriously, women should be taken a bit more seriously than that, and not just kind of pat on the head and said, oh, you're not a threat. So maybe that's good. Other good, clearly, Oliver did really, he was good in the crowd and very good at saving her, I guess. And I think security is more, it's a bigger issue these days, and I don't think you could try to turn yourself in and not be taken seriously. So our security is tighter now. I don't know. That's good.
Yeah, she became a born-again Christian in prison and found peace and was a prison minister. So it's something.
Yeah.
I read she also escaped.
Apparently, the big picture was reportedly taken 1 second after she missed. Do these people look like the president was just shot at 1 second ago? I don't know the validity of that statement, but.
We also had to look up who President Ford's vice president was. So maybe, know, that might have been a bad day for him or whatever. Maybe it was a good day for him. I don't know. So, thank you.
And we have one more.
Okay, so I prefaced this by saying that no one at my table knows anything about sports ball, so the accuracy of everything that I'm about to say should be taken with a grain of salt. So ours was the day that Frazee, the guy who owned the Red Sox, decided to sell Babe Ruth to the Yankees. So who failed? Frazee, because after that, apparently the Red Sox just like sucked forever. Yeah, no, yes. And the Yankees did really well. So we're gonna go with that. So the Yankees came out really on top of that. And apparently Frazee sold Babe Ruth because A, he thought Babe Ruth was a jerkface, and B, he really wanted to fund Broadway musicals. So we're assuming that the other person who really succeeded from this was some actor who is now super famous, and we can't mention his name due to royalties, who was then responsible for Cats and The Lion King, because Frazee at some point...
It's true. It's not fact checked.
It's a matter of perception. At some point,
This is not about
Frazee
accuracy.
wanted the money from the sale of Babe Ruth to fund a really obscure Broadway play that then led to somebody's really famous career, who then, you know, brought Cats to the stage, and without Cats, we wouldn't have had The Lion King. So, yeah.
There you go.
Accurate? No. Hilarious? Yes.
I think Tony would like to clarify a few points.
As a Yankee fan.
So is Cats a failure or a success?
Well, Cats gave us The Lion King,
Oh, that's-
which is apparently amazing. So we're just gonna go with.
Tony, what's
Well, Henry Frazee was a winner too, in that he used the money from the sale of Babe Ruth to fund No No Nanette on Broadway.
See, so I was not totally off.
Which was a huge Broadway success,
Commercial
success.
Think
so-
about that struggling actor that would have never even worked should they have not been hired for No No
See?
Nanette.
There you go.
We're totally making stuff up. We're still right because we're awesome.
There you go. Really, this wasn't about like testing your historical knowledge or making you Wikipedia things, because I did it. It was really just a matter of different spins on different ways to look at it, and to identify the failure for one party is not necessarily failure for another party, and that there were good things out of it. We wouldn't have had No No Nanette. I mean, we still had Babe Ruth, just on a different team apparently. So there's lots of failure in history. There's lots of failure in the future. You're going to turn it upside down. I feel confident that you're going to turn your failures upside down and have success.
Yes.